All right, ladies and gentlemen, buckle in. Don't worry. It's going to be quick. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be bumpy. You might get kicked out of the car a couple times, but this ride's going to be over quick because there is very little worth talking about in Pass Rush Friday this week. So, I'll say this. Trying to be a little glass half full here. One positive from the Seahawks pass rush on Tuesday against the Rams. When they got pressure, they got sacks. When they got to the QB, they put him on the ground. They had a very efficient game rushing the quarterback. Now, unfortunately, that means that while they were able to get sacks, they really weren't able to get anything done on the plays where they weren't getting sacks. So we had 4 sacks in that game. Keep that number in mind as we go forward here. We had 4 sacks. And let's see where the final pressure number lands to give you guys an idea of how futile our pass rush was on basically every play that wasn't a sack. So defensive ends is easy. Dunlap had 3 pressures. All 3 pressures resulted in a sack. Rasheem Green had 1 pressure. His pressure also resulted in a sack. And that's it. Nothing from Alton, Mayowa, and Hyder didn't play. So 4 QB pressures from defensive ends. Okay. Defensive tackle, we got 2. Al Woods had 1. I think he actually had a QB knockdown as well. Al Woods, by the way, now has as many QB pressures as Poona Ford. I did not see that coming. Look at my preseason projections. I thought Poona was going to evolve as a pass rusher to the point where he would be somebody we could count on to get like a pressure and a half a game. And I thought Al Woods was going to be a pure run stuffer, but if anything, Al Woods has been more effective rushing the quarterback this year than Poona. So that is a tremendous oversight on the part of the coaching staff thinking that Poona could handle that role. So Al Woods now has 10 on the year. Kimdichi also added 1 pressure, so he's at 5. And that's 2 pressures from the defensive tackles. All right, I told you it was going to be quick, right? Linebackers. Bobby, nuh-uh. Brooks, nothing. Darrell Taylor had 1 QB pressure. So Taylor continues to have a effective season. He's got 6 sacks, 18 pressures. We got 3 games left. Not taking anything away from the season he's had, excuse me. Nothing else from the linebackers. Nothing else from the corners. Nothing from the safeties. 7 QB pressures. 7 QB pressures on a game where you had 4 sacks. By the way, 7 pressures is also the number of pressures we had when we played the Rams back in week 5, so I guess some things never change. But, yeah, when I watched that game, I definitely saw the plays where Stafford had all day, right? I saw these plays where Stafford just had all day in the pocket, but I saw the sacks, and I was like, okay, we got a little bit of a pass rush today, and then you look at the numbers at the end of the game, and you're like, did we? I mean, the sacks are valuable. I'm not taking anything away from that, but if it's that boom or bust, I don't know how good it is. And the fact that everything came from one player who is an aging veteran who is probably on his last legs, that doesn't make me feel good about the future at all. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how often this happens where you have a team get 4 sacks and they can't even have 4 pressures that don't result in a sack. We literally had more sacks than plays where we got pressure and didn't get a sack. And sacks are huge. Sacks kill drives. Sacks force punts. Sacks put the offense behind the 8 ball, but not getting any pressure outside of your 4 sacks is a recipe for failure. And I say that even knowing that our defense did play really well, but this is a recurring trend. We don't get pressure and the defense just finds a way to hold up. I'm inclined to believe that if this defense was getting some pressure, you might see turnovers, you might see better field position, and you might see us actually winning some of these games. But we'll never know because this team is kind of the book has already been written here, more or less. We've got 3 games left that have limited meaning. So as we close in on the end of the season, it's just, I mean, obviously when I'm making projections, I understand I'm probably going to be off in a lot of areas, but it becomes very clear why this season has been so disappointing. Dunlap just had one of the best games of his career, probably, and he's still got work to do to get to even half of what I was hoping. Alton Robinson is. I just don't see him getting better. He just seems like he's staying the same. Mayoa basically doesn't rush the passer at all. Kerry Hyder didn't have a year like he did last year at all. I was hoping he could at least have some of the success he had in Frisco, and we don't really use him like that, but we're still not seeing it. Puna Ford didn't develop. LJ Collier, complete afterthought. I It's just a series of disappointments that has resulted in us having 132 QB pressures with 3 games left. I said we should get to about 200 this year. We may not get to 150. That's really all that can be said at this point, and I'm going to say this again. It is possible that some of these players got old and they just can't get to the quarterback the way they used to. It is possible that some of these guys are not as good as I thought. Alton Robinson and Puna Ford. Maybe they just can't get to the quarterback the way I was hoping going into this season. LJ Collier also would be included in that list. It is possible that some guys are injured, playing through injuries. It's hampering their ability to get to the quarterback. It's possible that they're not getting the benefit of offensive line holding calls the way they have in the past. There are a lot of things. But for all those things to happen at once to almost everybody on this team, like who are the guys who are exceeding expectations in a notable way? Rasheem Green, Daryl Taylor, I guess Al Woods, Kemdichi, but the expectations were so low it barely matters. To me, there has to be something systemic with this team that is just preventing us from getting to the quarterback. And this is what I'm really talking about when I say that I don't like where this defense is going despite the nominally good results. This is why I say Carroll and Norton have to go. They have to be involved in this somehow. Me and Hawks Nest have talked before about how our defensive line coaching prioritizes run stuffing over pass rushing, which nobody else does right now. And I think the proof is in the pudding that that's just not a good strategy at this point. These numbers are pathetic. We face a decent number of pass attempts. Teams are not running the ball down our throat in every game. We have a really good run defense overall. So when I say things like Carroll needs to go, it has more to do with this than even our record this year, really. I understand that he's a defensive first head coach and the defense overall is performing. But I look at stuff like that and stuff like this, and I just feel like there is a low ceiling. There is a low ceiling. They will never be elite again if they can't consistently get to the quarterback. And that's really all I got. We may end up with fewer QB pressures this year than last year, and last year there were only 16 games. All right, I said my piece. That's all I got. I'll see you guys later today. Peace out. Go Hawks.